Glenn Parker, High Vibration Foundation. I wanted to share some personal experiences, particularly near-death experience. Now, this was a little while ago, some number of years ago. I like to kind of preface it with I had a couple things going on I needed. I'm going to go into this more extensively in another video, I think, to do it from A to Z, like what went on from the beginning to the end, because it was a very large expanse of time. But let's just say that I had cancer at the time, and I also had an inoperable one, and I had a very rare blood disorder where the red blood cells were undersized, and I was not able to get proper amount of oxygen, and hence the blood pressure was really high as well. I had to take oodles and oodles of tons of different types of medications just to try to keep oxygenation stable and saturation stable. So with that prefaced, there was an occasion where, there was many times, like hundreds of times at least, literally, that I died. And none of them very eventful, I hate to say, but most of them were from oxygen desaturation. As a matter of fact, I needed oxygen to fly on commercial airlines to get on an airplane to go from A to B, because around 2,000 feet, the desaturation was extreme enough, and I even had crazy amount of blood panels and even live blood being taken and tested concurrently, because they didn't think the blood that they were taking the 2 other times they did it before was those tests were accurate. So they had no idea why. We found out why later on through a naturopath, go figure, instead of traditional medicine, what was going on and some of the solutions to that. In any case, so I could fall asleep. There was a year where I couldn't breathe, where I just wake up gasping for breath, sleeping for 5 or 10 minutes. And that wasn't an issue either, but there was a time later on when the medications were past the threshold where, you couldn't prescribe anymore. There was, literally would shut down your organs. And there was a time where I remember, getting into bed and finally getting to a place, waking up, breathing, gasping for breath a few times, and finally getting to a place, taking extra medication anyway, because what else are you going to do? And finally getting to a place where, kind of pass out or whatever through exhaustion for the usually most part. And I hit a place where I didn't experience the white light like a lot of people describe. I didn't, no angels, no devils, nothing like that. But it was a very interesting environment in that it didn't have an environment. It was no sense of light, no sense of sound. It was an intuition of a choice. So do you want to continue doing this? Are you tired of doing this? Do you want to stop? Step into the light type of thing. There's your choice. You could do that, or do you want to go back and continue and see about going ahead and finding solutions and whatnot? But it was a choice. It was literally, if you wanted to give it a label, I'd say pure neutrality, and that it wasn't into the light, it wasn't into the darkness, there was no form, there was no structure, there was no light, there was no sound, I didn't hear anything. It was basically a sense that, hey, here's your choice. Have you had enough? Do you want to play anymore? And I was taking care of my mom at the time, and she was probably the only one that, the only thing that was motivating me to stay alive and to do all the crazy things I had to do to stay alive and tolerate all the things I did. So, the choice was, it wasn't a conscious choice, I suppose. It was, or not one that I remember. Obviously, I woke up and here I'm talking to you, so obviously I chose to stay. But I thought that interesting. I was wondering if anyone's heard of like experiences, or if that was just the brain on low oxygen, or what was going on. However, I have to say, most of that time, I don't have conscious memory of much because there was such a low oxygen level. However, that memory is as vivid as any memory as I have ever had in my entire lifetime. And I have a photographic memory for the most part. Some of those years, things are a little fuzzy because of low oxygenation states, but otherwise, the memory is pretty solid even to this day, and that memory is very solid. It is very tangible. It's as real as any other memory I've ever had from the beginning of my memories till now. So I was curious if anybody else had had experiences like that, or I've never bothered really to read any near-death experience books or other experiences. I saw one on YouTube the other day which kind of motivated me to do this. So that I thought would be useful for anyone. I think the story that goes, all the backstory that goes along with that, as far as what you can tolerate as a human being, and go through and come out of and manifest, I think would be fascinating. I'm going to do that another day. Questions, anything, please send them over. If there's any links to other videos that you think would be relevant that I might have, use for, that would be great as well. Thank you very much. Love and light. Have a fantastic day.